Everyone? Oh, it was a late night, huh? I'm sure it was. It was for a lot of us. It's amazing that it's Wednesday morning already, isn't it? Conference is going quickly. Hopefully you're enjoying it. And it's been some great sessions. Great. Well, this morning, I think, if this is one of your last sessions, you're saving the best for last. The team advantage, building and growing teams in the RE/MAX model with Verl Workman. Verl is excellent. I think you'll enjoy this conversation. He's been a friend of ours for over 20 years, and he runs arguably one of the most successful team and brokerage coaching companies in real estate. As the CEO of Workman Success Systems, Verl, along with 3 of his 6 children and their team, have partnered with RE/MAX to create the Real Teams Solutions program that you'll be hearing more about. For brokers, owners, team leaders, team members, it provides an exclusive one-stop solution for you being part of the RE/MAX family. On a personal level, again, with Verl having 6 children, he's a staunch advocate of knowing that, boy, there's no business success that can compensate for the failure at home. And as such, his greatest success, he believes, is measured by his ability to teach his clients how to have better life balance as they grow their businesses. So if you'll help me in welcoming Mr. Verl Workman, real estate expert, incredible team builder, and our Real Teams partner. Thanks very much. Verl?
Thank you, thank you. All right, good morning, everybody. Okay, so I might have some questions for you. First question is this. How many of you already have a team? All right, how many of you here because you're thinking about starting a team or want to know how to do it? Okay, so we're about 60-40. All right, so I ran around the room this morning before we started. I asked a bunch of questions, and the questions I asked were, what were you hoping to get out of today? And I didn't hear any question that I'm not going to try and address. Like everything I heard, I'm going to do my best to address it. And if I don't address it, then I just want you to yell it out a little bit later. We're going to have some fun. I've got some team members. Where's my Workman team members that are in the room? Oh yeah, this is my oldest daughter, Brianne. Brianne is the president of our company. Like a lot of the things you see in Real Teams, Brianne helped develop. She's the vision and the execution of our business. So everybody welcome Brianne. Brent is our COO at the back of the room. I think all of my guys are in the booth. Everybody's so busy since we launched the Real Team program. So we're going to give some stuff away and have a little bit of fun based on your enthusiasm and participation. We're going to give some stuff away. Does that sound good? All right, so let's start with the question. Throw the slides up on the screen and we're going to go. All right, so the first question is simply this. When we talk about having agents deciding to build a team or should I start a team, I created just for the Real Teams program a should I start a team assessment. For brokers and owners that are considering whether or not we should have our agents start a team. Now, I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to let you take the assessment. You guys ready? I'm going to give it to you on a big scale. You ready? So what I want you to do is 0 being never, 3 being always. So 3, yes, that's totally me. I want you to add up your score. Let's add them up. Number 1, do you feel frustrated and alone in your business? 1, never. 3, yes. All by myself. Help me. Do you find yourself lacking the bandwidth to take advantage of opportunities in your business? Who just told me they have more leads than they can handle and I need help? Who was that? We just had that conversation, right? Do you close more than 1.5 buy-side transactions for every listing you generate? 0 being no, 3 being always. Are you doing the math in your head? Okay. Do your listings often fail to generate 6 to 8 leads a month, even in today's market? If the answer is yes, that'd be a 3. If it's no, it'd be a 1. Do you lack automated systems for most of your transactions? Do you lack proven systems for managing lead flow and conversion? This is a big one. Most people generate leads. I love it when a team leader or an individual agent says to me, my business is all referrals. Like, so you don't follow up with any leads that come in off of any of your listings? Like, to me, I love having a referral business. That should only be one of your 4 pillars of income, and you should have 4 pillars that are equal to what your referral business is. You want to quadruple your business? Build out 4 pillars. Okay, that had nothing to do with the survey. I'm going to get distracted a lot, so just do your best to keep me on track. Okay, does taking a vacation cause detrimental effects on your business? How many of you don't go because you're afraid of what's going to happen if you leave? Or when you do go, you're constantly working, or you're on your phone, or you're distracted. How many of you just want a team so you can get your life back? Can I ask that? Like, it's okay. You know, like we don't work. And I believe that we didn't start as entrepreneurs so that we could create a business that would become our life. We, as entrepreneurs, started a business that would serve our lifestyle. And the opposite happened. It became all we do. And so how do we get it back? And that's what teams really mean. As you go through and answer these questions, we'll put them back up and I'll do a couple more. As you go through and answer these questions, when you're with family and friendly, would they say that you're on your phone and dealing with urgent real estate issues? By the way, there's no emergencies in real estate. Why are you calling your realtor? Like if there's an emergency, call 911. I call your realtor, and we act like the end of the world is going to happen if I don't take this right now. I know, but it's date night. I know, but there's an inspection. Like, there's no emergencies in real estate. Lighten up, right? Like, we take ourselves so seriously. It's okay. Do you think, now this is another one. Have you given up things that you used to love to do? Or are you doing much less than you would like to do because of your work? Like, be honest. Like, if you weren't showing houses, what would you do instead? Do you find lack of time for prospecting every day? Do you believe that you have to compromise your personal life if you were to increase your production? Is there anybody in here that legitimately sabotages their own success because they don't want any more business because they're afraid of what it's going to do to their life? Like, I literally don't follow up with leads. I take the A ones, the easy ones, but the rest of them, I just hope they never call me back because I can't handle anymore. Does anybody feel like that? Okay, that would be a 3. That would be a 3. Okay, do you find lack of time for prospecting? Do you experience peaks and valleys in your business? We have really high peaks and valleys. I hope you guys do realize that there are little peaks and valleys in business, but not huge ones. And if you experience huge peaks and valleys, it's because when you're broke, you prospect, and then you generate some revenue, and then all of a sudden you work these deals till they close, and you stop doing the things that created the revenue, and then all of a sudden you have a peak, and you're like, woo, let's go to Cabo, and then when you're done, you go, oh my gosh, I have no business. I better prospect again. And it takes 90 days. Nothing you do today pays you for 90 days. And so the lack of consistency in the way that we run our businesses makes a huge difference. And then the last one is, you wish you could perform at a higher level. How many of you believe, like genuinely believe in your heart, that there's another level that you could be performing at? How many of you believe it? How many of you would like to go there? All right, so today, the next 55 minutes we have to get together is about going to the next level, but not at the expense of your life. I want to go to the next level, and when you double, wherever you are, when you double, I want you to be doing 50% less than you are right now in your business. Everybody okay with this concept? Okay, so how are we going to do it? Let's talk about it. Oh, by the way, when you add up your numbers, if you got higher than a 15, you probably should build a team, and you definitely need a coach. And so if you're in the 20s, take out a business card, fold all the corners, and give it to one of my people and say, help me, because we can help you. You don't have to live a business this way. It's so fun to watch people when they start changing other people's lives and their businesses and their teams start to grow. If you're below 14, that means you're kicking butt and taking names. Come up and get the mic, and you can teach the class because you have great leverage. All right, so here's the deal. We have all of these things in our life that we juggle. I'm a father. I have 6 children. I have 9 grandchildren, 7 little granddaughters, and they all live within a couple miles of my house. And every Sunday they're at the Workman's, like it's a thing. Sunday dinner at the Workman's is a big deal because all these kids are there and all the grandkids are there, and every Sunday we get together as a family. I can't imagine a life where that doesn't exist for me. And yet we have all these balls. I'm father, CEO, husband, grandfather, friend, coach, mentor, buyer's agent, listing agent, administrative assistant, therapist, right? All right, can I juggle all those balls? Can you keep them all up at the same time? The truth is that when you say yes to some things, you're either intentionally or unintentionally saying no to things that are more important. And you have to make a decision in your life at some point that it's not okay anymore. And we do it with the excuse that I want my children to have more than I did as a child growing up, and so I work really hard for them. But what I've learned is that our children, they don't need our money as much as they need our time. And you can give them all have you ever met people whose kids have way too much money? How are they turning out? Right? It's hard. it just adds a more complexity to raising of your family. And so they need us, they need our time. And so I'm going to challenge you that as you think about the balls that you juggle, to ask yourself, which one can I give away? Can I give away transaction processing? Would that be okay? So that I can spend more time with this grandchild. Could I give away showing houses? By the way, buyers are time-sucking animals. I love them, but they suck away your life. I can hear the sound. Like when a buyer, right? Just delegate it. It's okay. And we have these personal things where, how many of you have had this self-conversation, but they really, really, really need me? No, they need a house. They don't, you're not even in the equation. The moment you realize that you as a real estate agent are a tool in the process and not the reason that they're buying or selling the house, it allows you to delegate and train other people to be great at it. That was for you, man. Okay. we made eye contact on that because he was like, I don't know how to delegate. You just got to let it go, man. You just got to make a decision that, doing these things are more important than those things. I can pay somebody $25 an hour to show houses. So when you're showing homes, instead of being with your family or having date night or dating your kids or doing a ball game, what you're saying is to that child or that loved one, they're not worth $25 an hour to you. Is that harsh? But is that truth? Right, our actions speak louder than our words. I love you, but I got to take this. I was driving, actually when Brianne had her last little girl, the day that she had her baby, I had to pick up my other little granddaughters at the hospital, at school. And I remember pulling up at the elementary school, and a little granddaughter got in the car just as my phone rang. And I looked in my rearview mirror, and she got in, she says, and I said, hi, this is Verl. And I just watched the life of the joy of this sweet little girl go out of her face and the disappointment because she didn't get to tell me about her awesome day. And I vowed that when I see my kids, I want to put that phone down. I want to greet them with love and let them know that I'm there and not have them feel that disappointment. How many times does that happen in your life where you've done the wrong thing in that moment? I know for me, that was a game-changing moment for me. It was just like, I'm not doing that again. It's not who I want to be. It's not who I want to be as a father. It's not who I want to be as a grandpa. It's not who I want to be as a friend. And so we change. All right, let's go to the next one. I'm going to give you some numbers that are really important. I'm going to give you information really fast today. We could do this class in 3 hours and still run out of time. And so I'm going to give you some very specific numbers and things you need to know. But I will also give you a link or a QR code, and I'll send you a PDF copy of my slides. And so if I have it and it's something that will help you, I will give it to you. Fair enough? I'm going to teach you a lesson about leadership, and that is if you pour into your people, you'll get everything that you want. If you help them be amazing and you just give them everything you have, give them your A stuff, the business will take care of itself, and it always has for me. Here's your numbers. 1 listing should equal 1.5 buy-sides when you're trying to figure out what to do with your teams. By the way, this is broken down in the Real Teams Playbook, which is part of the new Real Teams program. It's literally 60 pages, but it links out to all these tools and resources. And so inside, I'm going to reference the toolbox in the playbook so you're understanding that's part of what RE/MAX is rolling out at the event today. 1.5 buy-sides for every listing. That means if I can get you all as team leaders to only focus on listings, you go out and do 20 listings this year, you should close 35 buy-sides and not put a single buyer in your car. And if you do the right compensation, I'm going to show you the math on what that looks like. It makes a huge difference. Every listing you generate should create 6 to 8 leads a month. For every 25 leads we generate, when you look at your lead flow, for every 25 leads we generate, we add a buyer's agent. It's a formula. We have to put systems in place for anything you do 3 times. So everything you do 3 times in your business, if you want to have a successful team, you must have a what? You must have a system. So every time you do it 3 times, you need to build a what? You got to have a system for everything. Okay, next number thing is you'd have to have critical numbers. We work a group called our Top 50. I can teach you how to close 86 transactions a year working with 50 people 1 hour a day. And if you build this top 50 list correctly and you spend an hour a day doing what I ask you to do, you'll close 50 to 80 transactions just out of top 50 without buying a single lead. Anybody want to know what that looks like? All right, it's in the book. It's called the Top 50 program. There's a tracker for it. There's exactly what I want you to do each day. All of the touches are in there. And we have clients that are doing way more than that. It's unbelievable. And as a team, your job as a team leader is to help develop your people. Somebody said, before I start a team, this is a question that came up before we started today, do I need to have leads for my team? I don't think I have enough leads to hire anybody. If you hire people and tell them you're going to give them leads, you're hiring the wrong people because they come to you with their hand out. So what I want you to do is say, no, we don't give you any leads. We're going to teach you how to hunt. I'm going to teach you how to do 8651. And then when you get to that, if you still want to kick butt and need some leads, then we'll buy some. But I'm not buying leads. There's so much opportunity in your business that you're currently not capitalizing on. I like to say to all of my coaches when we take on a new client, the number one thing is we lead with revenue, not expense. And so I want to identify where in your business are the revenue holes, where are the places that you're losing income by not having the right systems, process, or people in place, and let's fill those gaps first. Once we fill those gaps and we lead with revenue, then we can look at what it takes to expand and to grow the business. The hard numbers in the business, by the way, are 30 to 100 transactions a year is the dead zone. And there's so many people that get stuck in that 30 to 100 because they can't get out of it. Once we hit 100, the next year we'll double. And the reason we double is because all of our systems and processes and people are in place, and we know all of the data, and all we do is turn them up. So if you're in that dead zone, that's probably the place where you can stay the rest of your career or get someone who's been down this road a couple times to help you, and it'll help you with the numbers. All right. Delegation was a big thing that came up this morning. People said, I don't know how to let it go. I don't know how to give people something. I hold on to it. Now, you guys are laughing when you see this. You know what I'm talking about. How many of you know Gollum? Okay, what does Gollum hold on to? He holds on to his ring, and what does he call it? It's my precious, it is. And what does the precious thing do to him? It destroys him. So I'm curious to ask all of you, what is the one thing you should be letting go of that you're holding on to tight? That will be the thing that keeps you from growing in your business. Somebody throw it out. What's your one thing? I love working with buyers. It's okay. I love working with buyers too. I just love other things more. Right? Okay, and by the way, no one should ever tell you what kind of business you should run. If you love working with buyers, let's build a team of listing partners around you. And you can work with all the buyers you want. Oftentimes I'll tell my buyers, my luxury agents are my favorite because they never tell you how many houses they sell. They always tell you how many millions they sold. You know what I'm talking about? Like, how much business did you do? Well, I did 18 million. Well, how many houses was that? Well, it was 2. I'm like, well, what do you do all day? Like, what do you do all day? You just sold 2 houses. Are you full-time? Oh, yes, we're very busy. But our market's different. I love that. Everybody says my market's different, and everybody wants to do business with me. Okay, so the reality is it doesn't matter what market you're in or what your price point is. Like, I have agents whose average sales price is $4 million that are doing $250 million in sales, and their goal is to do $500 million this year. And next year they want to do $1 billion in sales. And you know why? Because they want to give away $1 million. 10% off of every dollar that comes into that team gets donated to one of 5 local charities. And the goal of the team is to give it back. And the first goal is to give away $1 million. We did that. Now the goal is to give away $1 million a year. Come on, that's fun, isn't it? Like, let's change some lives in this process. I forgot what I was talking about. Oh, yeah, what's the one thing? What's that one thing that you're hanging on to? Somebody said buyers, I love my buyers. It's okay. I love my buyers. I like boating more. I would prefer to go boating. Anybody else? Like, what's something you hold on to? You hold on to your money too much. You can hang on to that, but it doesn't make you happy. Like, I want you to have your retirement fully funded, then give the rest away. And let's make a difference in our communities and our kids' families, right? Make sure you're okay in going into retirement. Most realtors aren't. Most realtors, like, when they stop working, have nothing of value because they hold on to everything. When we look at your business to buy it, the more production done by the team leader, the lower valuation we'll give you when we buy your company. Because it has no value when you leave. What you've done is you've created a great job for yourself, and nobody can knock that because you've created a great living. But if you want to have something that gives an exit strategy to you, then you have to create systems and process that runs on its own. You can come in and do whatever you want, do what you love about the business, but you don't have to in order to be able to survive. And that's what makes making a team so precious. Okay, so Let It Go. Now, so the guys in the back, can you guys cue up the song from Frozen, Let It Go? Because everybody has one, and we just need to like play that song in our heads. You got to let it go. I'm going to sing for you. No, I'm not. My wife's over here, and she's like, just please don't. All right, so our time is our most precious asset. And what happens is we focus on ROI. How many of you heard ROI before? Return on investment. If you put money in something, you want to get a return on it. I think that there's an area that we should focus more of our return focus should be on, and that is time. What is your ROT? What is your return on time? If you're going to take time away from the things that matter most and invest it into business, how about we make a decision today to just make it worth it? And let's get the highest return for our time away from what matters. And stop doing fake work. You know what fake work is, everybody? It's the pretending of being busy without ever accomplishing anything. How many of you have had days like that where you get home and you're like just worn out? I call it the busy, and they're the worst days because you feel so worn out and you didn't even do anything that moved you closer to your goals. And it's because you're not doing the right activities. You're not prospecting. You're not listing and selling houses. You're doing administrative work that you should be delegating and giving to somebody else. You're driving signs around, putting open house out. Time is our most precious resource. Let's start tracking it. Today's consumer folks, they love to work with specialists. They don't want generalists. You heard Nick Bailey talk about going to the dentist's office, right? And going and saying, I remember I sit in the dentist's office, and one time I let the dentist do a root canal. Big mistake. I'll never do that again. I go to an endodontist to do a root canal, and I want him to put me out. The dentist did it, and he was literally sweating as he was trying to pull my tooth out and breaking it into little pieces. And I have no tolerance for pain. Ask my wife. She'll tell you that. She's like, you're such a baby. I'm not doing that. We want specialists. When something happens big in your life, has anybody ever had somebody diagnosed with cancer that they love or somebody close to them? Do you want them to go to a general practitioner? When my daughter hurt her elbow doing a back handspring, she's getting ready to go to do gymnastics. I didn't go to the general practitioner, I went to the orthopedic surgeon who sent me to the elbow specialist. The surgeon wanted to do surgery, but he said, I want you to talk to the elbow specialist. He said she doesn't need it. She needs a brace, and we need to repair the tendon. A specialist, when you specialize in something, you just get better at it. So I'm going to take you through this for just a second. I want you to think about this concept for a minute. All right, so the average realtor sells how many houses a year? Throw it out. 4 to 7. Let's say they do it 7 times. Okay, so as a generalist, you're doing 7 transactions a year. You're working the buyer, you're working the seller, you're doing the admin 7 times a year. Can you be great at anything doing it 7 times a year? Can you create expertise? I mean, really? The answer is no, you can't. As a buyer's agent, the minimum level of acceptable performance to be on a buyer's agent on one of my teams is 24 transactions. 24 transactions a year. If you're doing it 24 times a year, are you better at the person who does it 7? As a transaction coordinator, when you're working all the transactions of the team, you're doing 100 deals a year, is it possible that you just might have better systems and processes to provide a higher level of client care because that's all you do? Specialists matter. When you're dealing with listings today and all you do is focus, when you get up in the morning and you eat, drink, and sleep listings, is inventory a problem for you? When you list 60 or 70 houses a year, folks, are you better at it than the person who does it 7 times? Specialists make a difference, and I want you to think about that. What if the only reason we built a team was because we wanted to create a better client experience by having specialists at every area of the transaction, and you took money out of the equation? What do you think the result of that would be? I want my people to be the best in the business. I want my clients to have amazing client experiences, and I want to help people buy more homes. How many of you have done business with realtors that are not very good? Seriously, you know what I'm saying? And so the reason for that is because they don't do enough transactions. And it's not because they're not good people. They just don't have the experience you do. And so you work both sides of the deal, but only get paid on your half. And it's not really fair. So I say, let's get all sides of the deal. We don't create any new business. All we do is take other people's. You're either going to grow your market share or you're going to be giving up your market share, and you have to decide what side you want to be on. I want to be on the side of growing my market share because that means I get to serve more people in my community. It's not about the money. It's about the serving of the community. The more you serve, the more opportunities will present themselves. You will never chase dollars if you focus on amazing client experiences by creating specialty at every level of the transaction. That's what team means. Okay, so here's why people form teams. I'm going to give them to you fast. Ready? They want to provide a high level of client service. That's number one in our survey, by the way. They're swamped and they need help. They have goals they can't reach by themselves. They suffer from income inconsistency. They've got strained or non-consistent relationships because they're never around. God, you want to break my heart? Come up and tell me, hi, Verl, I'm a normal realtor. I'm divorced. You don't know how many times in my career somebody has started a conversation like that. I'm a normal realtor. I have stress in my family or my relationships. That breaks my heart. It shouldn't be that way. We all have friends, right, that have been through that, and some of you have experienced that. And so let's change it going forward. Let's let the business not be the reason. They want to mentor others. God, you get good in the business. How many of you have something you want to share with someone else? Like you just want to give, and you want to develop. And, like there's like 2 people in this whole room that want to share. Like, come on. We want to give and we want to share with more people. Okay. Sorry, I go back to my slides a lot, so I appreciate that. Okay, the other thing is they want to go back. They see greater opportunities. They don't want to work alone. They desire more time away from work, and they need to formulate or exit or retirement plan. How many of you would just like somebody to give the business to when you're done? Like you're not too far away. I'm 57. Like So 7 years ago when we started this company, I used to be called Verl Workman Seminars. You know why? Because I'm Verl. Or Vern, or Merle, or I can't remember his name, but it was the big guy. I get called all those things. Well, here's the thing. When you're Verl Workman Seminars, when Verl Workman doesn't come, how do you scale that? And so my daughter in her brilliance says, it can't be about you. It has to be about what we do. It's Workman Success Systems, and make it about the systems. And so we rebranded so that we had a business that my children could continue to run when I don't want to work anymore. And by the way, all 3 of my married children are here at R4. Brianne runs the company, Nate runs sales and marketing, Ryan's the top sales guy. I mean, it's cool to have my kids in the business. And are we having fun, Bree? We're having fun. Okay, and we actually like working together. Okay, so I'm going to define teams for you. Somebody asked me I want team structure, so let me give you some team structure. Would this be helpful for you? Okay. Wow. Okay. So first of all, I'm going to give you 2 types of teams. Everybody has all these different types of teams, domestic partnerships, team, whatever. Okay, so in the playbook, we define teams in much greater detail. But there's 2 basic types of teams. A traditional team consists usually of a team leader, and the first hire is an assistant, someone that can take the paperwork off. By the way, I believe that the day you get your license is the day you should have your first assistant. You get that, man? Like when are you going to hire, like he's getting his license right now. When do you get your assistant? The day you get your license. And I don't mean you go put them on the payroll and go into debt. What I mean is to plug into someone who's going to do transaction processing that can handle that stuff for you and pay them on a per transaction basis. There's no reason you need to do it other than to learn how to do the contracts. Right? There's no better teacher than the game. So we get a client care coordinator. Look, nobody dressed up as a Barbie and said, I hope I can be an assistant one day. Like, give them a title do you understand the value of a client care coordinator? They will change your life. Like, are any of my client care coordinators in the room? Like, how many of you support a team? Do I have any? Where's the people that support our teams? Anybody? Okay, right there. Okay, where are you? I love you. You're the reason that I get to do what I love. Like we have to elevate and support and care about these people to allow us to do what we love the most, and that's go out there and sell houses. And if we don't have them in our lives, then we don't get to do the things we love the most. And so a client care coordinator is your first most important hire. And I suggest that you pay more than your market average. I want you to hire A players. Don't do opportunity hires. Opportunity hires are people that need a job when you're looking. And I know they're family members. They're the hardest people to fire. Then you get a buyer's agent, and I'll talk about compensation in a minute, and then maybe a listing partner. Most of our team leaders are the listing partners, so they wear more than one hat because they like that part of the business. Eventually, when you get to when you get to Pinnacle and you're doing a couple $1 million in GCI a year, we go to 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 8, you might get to that place where you really don't care if you list any more houses, and that's okay. We'll focus on building wealth and owning other pillars of income, and how do we create real long-term wealth. Just do what you love right now, and put yourself in a place on the team, and delegate everything else. Just do what you love the most. So I'm giving you permission to work your buyers. Cool? Are we good? But how about, like, what's the high end of your market? About 5 million. Okay, you can work all the buyers over 3 million. Anything else? Let's delegate it. Is that okay? Can you do it? Over 1 million. Oh, you still want to sell the crack houses? Okay, fine. Fine. Okay, fine. All right. Now, once you have a team that looks like this traditional team, we can expand it. So we can do sales managers, and when you get over 100 transactions, your client care coordinator will be taxed. And that's when we look at having somebody come in and help with marketing. We get a runner to come in and run things in the office. When your buyer's agents are doing more than 36 to 50 transactions, they need help showing homes. And then we bring in a showing assistant. Oftentimes, a showing assistant isn't even on the team. They're just auditioning to be on the team. There are agents who want to be on the team. You want to know how they work? You let them audition. You pay them $25 an hour to show homes. You cap them at 20 hours or $500. So that's the maximum exposure. Inside the Real Team's playbook, there's a job description for a showing assistant and the contract that you use that says you don't get the client, you don't get a follow-up with the client. It's my client. If they don't buy in 20 hours, you agree to continue to work with them until they write. And so you don't give them anybody who's not ready, willing, and able to make the purchase. And so there's intelligence behind all these positions. The other type of a team is one that doesn't get talked about very much. And really all a team means is leverage. It just means you need other people doing stuff. And a lot of people think, like, we have these internal conversations that say, I want to build a team, but I don't really want to manage people. That's okay. You don't have to. I'm giving you permission to not have to. You can create leverage. Leverage is you can have an outsourced virtual assistant that can do a lot of the work for you. We have, at Workman, we have 50 employees and we have 15 virtual assistants that are all virtual, that support our coaches. And they're unbelievable, highly skilled. And then I've got transaction coordinator. You can pay $250 to $400 a transaction for people who just do this for a living. And there's companies who provide transaction coordination services. So you don't have to hire someone, you just have to delegate it and outsource. Does this make sense? And so you can be a team and still be an individual. Just understand what needs to be delegated or outsourced and what you should do yourself. And that's how you create leverage, and it's okay. Like some people feel like, oh, if I'm not a team, I'm not going to be successful. That's just not true. We have amazing individual agents that have had amazing careers in real estate. The problem is that our transaction is getting more and more complex. I mean, like when I first got my license, it was 4 pages for a real estate purchase agreement. Now it's like 27. And then in California, who's here from California? How many inspections are you doing now? 4, 9? Yeah, 9 inspections. We have inspections for everything, right? I'm inspecting to make sure you don't have a gas lawnmower now right here. Like we're making sure that doesn't exist on your property. Like it's so complex that because it takes more time to do a transaction and there's constant downward pressure on commissions, we have to sell more homes in order to make the same money we did a few years ago. Is anybody experiencing this? And so the only way I know to compensate for that is to create leverage. So I spend more of my time getting a higher return on my time and less time doing the other activities. That's how you learn to delegate and let go of those hard things. Okay, so let me give you comp plans. Here's how we pay. Buyers agents. So team leaders, I'm going to give this to you. I need you to understand this concept. I need you to be at a 50% gross profit after your cost of sale. Meaning, if you pay a buyer's agent 50-50 on deal 1, and then you cover client care coordinator, all the marketing, all of the expenses, all of the stuff, they just made 50% net, and you made 25. In what world is that a smart business model? You have all the expense, all of the risk, and so you've got to be at 50% after your cost to sell. So we start a buyer's agent out on a 40-60 split for the first 2 deals they do in a month, and then 45-55 for deals 3 and 4, 50-50 for 5+, and it resets every month. Every single month, because that 40-60 gives me my margin to be able to afford my client care coordinator and the other services that I want to provide to make a great experience for my team members. Okay? Go ahead, throw me out some objections. I know you're thinking them. I heard G's in the audience. Come on, yell it out. So give me a reason why this won't work. It's not my, what does that have to do with how much I'm paying my buyer's agent? Oh, resets everyone. Not my fault it didn't close. Well, when you only have one deal in the hopper, it's true. But when you have 4 deals in the hopper and it didn't quite go over, if you're doing 46 to 60 deals, I'm gonna take care of you. Right? I'm gonna err on the side of giving my agents the benefit of the doubt. But I want so many deals in the hopper that deals are falling out all the time. I had an agent from California, Calabasas, called me last week. I don't have my phone. I gave it to my daughter. I'd share the text message with you. He said, Verl, I just had one fall out of escrow. This one hurts. It's $200,000 commission. On a deal. Jeff Bebach is his name. He says, my problem is I've got big bills. It's expensive to be where he is in Calabasas, he says, and I'm counting on that to cover my overhead the next 30 days. I go, what are you going to do? He says, I'm going to hire some more buyer's agents. He said, we made $1 million just from our buyer's agents last year. And I says, yeah, okay, so how's that going to help you in 30 days? Like, you're going to find, hire, train, develop, put something under contract and sell it in 30 days? Like, no. You need to get out your top 50 and we're going to make calls. And you're going to find off-market properties and we're going to sell some. And I gave him exactly what to do. He called me that night, one property, $9 million. Cash deal closes in 30 days. The next morning I told him, I sent him a text that says, Jeff, I want you to wake up every morning broke for the next 30 days. I want you to wake up every morning broke. He then sent me a message and says, I got another $9.8 million listing. The next morning, he sent me another one, says, I found 4 off-market properties. 3 of them are being shown today by my buyer's agents, all $4 million or above. Activity breeds productivity if you're focused on the right things. But we don't get focused on the right things until we are afraid of not doing it. Isn't that true? Like, poverty is a great motivator. I've been there. I didn't like it. Like, seriously. Okay, so listing partners. So everybody understand the buyer's agent concept? Right? Yeah, throw it out. Go ahead, question. Okay, so let me repeat your question. Okay, her question is when you're doing 40-60 splits and you have a high performer and now they're doing 40-50 deals and like, why am I only making 50%? Why don't they leave? I'm going to talk about that in the presentation. Sometimes they will. And the greatest badge of honor you can have is developing someone to be so good that they can do it themselves. And if you're smart enough as a leader, you'll create an environment that they can do that while they're with you. You just have to change. You have to take a smaller piece of a bigger pie. So when you have people and you develop great people, you don't ever want to hold somebody back from being amazing. We want to develop leaders. Great team leaders develop great leaders. And the greatest thing that you can give them is success. But most people that are on teams, if you hire the right personality types, don't want to be team leaders. You're wired up differently. Like, as entrepreneurs, we are crazy. And a lot of people don't want the stress and all of the pressure and all the things that we have when we take on the responsibility of others. And so they're just happy doing it. Well, I've got teams that have had people on their team for 15 years that are on this same split. And I always ask people, when someone says to me, I can get a better split somewhere else, I'm going to give them always the same thing. What's more important to you? And write this down. The split you're on or the amount of money you take home to your family. Because I'm going to put you in an environment where you take more money home. And then I'm going to show them how. So the difference isn't the split. Oh, honey, I got a bigger split today. How much you sell? Nothing. Well, how do we eat that? Like, the joy in that is your negotiation. I think it's really funny. People like to beat up their RE/MAX people for trying to get a better split, right? To get better deals from their broker to build their teams or whatever. The RE/MAX model is unbelievable. Like, RE/MAX has the greatest model for teams. If you follow the RE/MAX model the way that it's designed, you have a program that allows you to keep almost all of your money. And then you have enough to be able to pay splits to your team members. With most companies you go into, you're going to pay a 6 or 8 or 10% franchise fee, depending on what the company is. And you start at a 70-30 split until you get to a certain cap. And then you bring team members on, and they have to go through the same program. I coached an agent last year that paid their brand over $600,000 in fees. Now, she did $300 million, but there's no way that brokerage provided $600,000 in value. And so what happens is it's not that we have a compensation problem, it's that we have a value problem. And the one thing that RE/MAX does is they provide incredible value. Like if you look at the value, if you plug into the systems and the resources that are available to you as a team leader, and then you make that your unfair competitive advantage, that with what they're doing with real teams is such a cool thing, because you can go up against any team anywhere in the world and you can compete and win, because you have every resource, every tool, every contract, every process that a team leader needs to be successful at your fingertips. If you had $1 million and wanted to buy that from me, I wouldn't sell it to you. But you can get it by becoming a Real Team certified office. That's the value of that program. And so jump into that, okay? Just know that you have it available to you. Okay, so listing agents, we pay 25 to 30%. Showing it 25 to 30% for listings. Yep. A good listing agent is going to sell 60 to 80 listings a year. They're going to make $250,000 a year average on a 30% split. Is that a good living? And all they have to do is prospect, show homes, and negotiate contracts. That's it. Prospect, list homes, negotiate contracts. Prospect, list homes, negotiate contracts. When they get it listed, they give it over to the team, and the team handles it. When offers come in, they get back involved in the transaction, negotiate the contract, get it under contract, give it back to the team to handle it. And then they go on and get their next deal. When you get a focus on things that you become an expert in, you do it better and you get more of it. And that's how we're able to do that. Our teams are profitable, and when they're profitable, they give you stability and security, which is what your job as a leader is to provide. You have to provide stability and security. Okay, the other thing is when we hire. This is a great DISC motivator. How many of you do DISC? So we'll give you resources inside of Real Teams where you can do this. When we go through and we hire people, and one of the things in the toolbox is we have an org chart that has every position on a team, that has the suggested compensation structure and the DISC profile and the motivator profile. It's great recommendations, but you can open that up and say, this is who I'm hiring to. This is the example of a really good team leader. Super high DIs. Raise your hands if you're my DIs. All right, this represents most realtors. Now the motivators is really interesting. We have a whole class on this, and it's in your specialty training. We actually do some training on how to really understand DISC and motivators. But the motivators are aesthetic, how things look, economic, money motivated, not just making more money, but sometimes it's a fear of not having enough money. And it comes from different things that have happened in their life. So the motivators come from life experiences that cause them to behave a certain way. And so we really look at those: individualistic, political, altruistic, regulatory, and theoretical. I'll show you the next one here to give you an idea. When I look at that, I see a team leader. When you look at that, and they're going to be a client care coordinator, I would ask a lot of questions, because their natural place is not being happy in the numbers, and their attention to detail is going to suffer. So that's pretty much me. Actually, I'm way higher than that on the D, and I'm way higher than that on the I, and I don't think I have a C. My natural C is really low, but my adapted is getting higher. As my business become more complex, and I've had to get a CFO and other people to come and help me understand what's going on in it, I've had to become more analytical, because you're making more strategic decisions. Okay, let me show you a DISC from a client care coordinator. This is a Rockstar client care coordinator. This is a team that started out as RE/MAX Platinum. We started coaching them in 2012. Last year they did $3.6 million in GCI, and the team leader is no longer in production. She's in people development and business development. Just bought her building. We're doing mortgage. There's a lot of fun things that are happening right here. This is her right hand. She started out as her nanny, hired her as her first client care coordinator. Now she's her COO. She runs the team. Now look at her S. Cares about her people more than life itself. She will go without to make sure other people have something. And her C is, she is a freak in the spreadsheets. She absolutely loves the numbers. She loves everything about the analytical part of the business, and she does a phenomenal job with that. She also has a high economic motivator, and that's because she grew up in poverty. So we look at that. Look at her regulatory. She's a rule follower. Her theoretical causes problems sometimes because she overanalyzes, and she's trying to figure things out and looks at 67 different ways. And sometimes we just have to say, go. We're just going to go. So that's what a good client care coordinator looks like. You like that? Is it helpful to talk through some of the positions and what they look like and how we hire? Is this helpful? Okay. All right. Well, let's do some more then. Every team has a culture. Every team has a culture that's either accidentally created or it's intentionally created. Now, I put this picture up here because this is an intentional creation. Now, every year for Christmas, with all my kids and grandkids, Legos are everywhere. During COVID, how many of you built more Legos? We have Lego starships, we have Lego Yoda, I got Lego, all these things. All right, well, after the Legos are built, I don't have a place to put them all, so we have a bin. Anybody have a Lego bin? Okay, this is what intentional creation looks like. What gets developed out of the bin is accidental creation. It's that you just reach in and whatever comes out, comes out. This is what happens when you think about it and you strategize and you follow the plan, is you want to build something that's intentional. Your business, every business has a culture, and it's either accidentally created or it's intentionally created. If you want to have a successful team, you have to build your business on a set of core values. We start every team by establishing values. We hire to the values and we fire to the values. When you set up the right set of core values, this is a real team's document. When you set up the right set of core values, what happens is you can pretty much deal with any situation that comes up in your team by referring back to the core values. And so if I were to hire you, Wayne, and we talked about the core values, I discussed them with you during the hiring process, you signed the core values, I give you a copy of the core values on your desk. Here's my core values. These are Workman's Success core values. Choose to be happy. I want to be around people that are enjoying themselves. Just make a choice. Be happy. Communicate openly and honestly. Have and share vision. Integrity always. Live with passion. Live freely. That was my one. I want to help my employees live debt-free. And so I want them to be in a place where they don't have bondage, because I've been there and I didn't like it. I want them to show gratitude. I didn't say have gratitude. I said show gratitude. It's so different when somebody shows you they're grateful than when they tell you they're grateful. And I want to persist until we succeed. By the way, we follow up until you buy or tell us to die. I promise you that we follow up until you file a restraining order. If your buyer's agents don't have that attitude with leads, then you're wasting your money. We follow up with systems. Now, if these are your core values, I want you to think about this. An agent, we say we're going to do a daily huddle. They don't show up for a daily huddle, but they told me they would. How does core values affect that? Are they living with integrity? When they made the commitment, they don't show up? Nope. Are they living with passion? No passion there. Are they showing appreciation for me showing up and spending my time to develop them? We have a lot of core value issues here, and we're only doing one thing, not showing up for huddle. When someone doesn't follow your system for following up with your A, B, and C leads out of Boomtown, then how do you follow up with that? We have core value issues. When you start using your core values to encourage people to grow, it changes the culture of your team, because people want to do the right thing. Nobody gets up and hopes they can fail. I believe that everybody gets up every morning and wants to succeed. They just don't know how. So we start with a set of values. Here's Brooke Sines' core values. She's got two teams. She's got one team in Michigan. She's got another team in North Carolina. Hers are legacy, outstanding, valued, enthusiastic, work hard, play hard, ethical success, timely, motivated, integrity. Here's her core values in North Carolina. Legacy, outstanding, valued, ethical, community, loyal, and trustworthy. What I love about Brooke is she started her team in Michigan in Grand Rapids, made a conscientious decision that she wanted to raise her family in North Carolina. They moved. She kept her team in Michigan, started a new team in North Carolina, and in 2 years hit diamond. How would you like to go to a brand new market, brand new, and not know anybody and hit diamond in 2 years? The way she did it is she knew, because she built her team in Michigan, how to do it. And the success principles just worked. She went out there, she hired buyer's agent. She didn't have any leads, she didn't have any listings, she didn't have anybody. She got buyer's agent, she got an assistant. She had her team back in Michigan do all the client care coordinating until the team made sense to have it there. Does that make sense? They do their team huddles together, they work together. Comment or question, yell it out. How do you find the right people? You hunt. And it's a process. I can't answer that quickly, but there's a process. So we have a whole process for finding people. And it's harder today than it was 2 years ago, but we're still finding great, talented people. I'll give you one more core values. This is Nate Martinez. Nate's here. He's walking the floor. I think he said today this is his 35th R4. He's been to all of them. Nate Martinez he's got an office of 140 agents plus a 7-figure team that he runs. His core values are really simple. Recognize, inspire, simplify, and excel. I love that. Jeff Bebach, the guy that lost the $200,000 deal, his core values are the 4 backs. We have each other's back, we have our clients' back, we have our family's back. I can't remember the 4th one, but it's the 4 backs. Yeah, and we're getting our time back. That's not it, but that's a good one. Okay, So that's Nate. By the way, Nate wrote a great book this year. If you haven't got a copy of it, you should go look it up. Get it on Amazon. It's called 8 Ways to Dominate in Any Real Estate Market. He talks about his journey with RE/MAX. He went from selling, 600 to 800 REO properties in Phoenix to completely transitioning his business into selling luxury real estate and building a team. And it's been fascinating to be part of that journey with him as his coach. It was really interesting to go from not dealing with people and having a massive team of REOs to scaling back and repurposing people and having to get new people that focus on regular real estate. He talks about that. All right, we talked about accidental versus intentional creation. We want to create a culture of productivity. When I talk about intentionally creation, every office has a culture. If your culture is, I have a bunch of agents who don't produce, that's your choice. So either keep it or change it. You have all of the power, all of the choice. What we do with our culture of productivity, it's a workman coach team, is every day we get up, we have a daily huddle. It's 15 minutes, a daily huddle. We look at your daily success habits. We look at what you did yesterday, what your plans are today. Then we role play. We practice scripts and dialogues for 15 to 30 minutes. We just practice what we're going to say. I want my agents to have such great dialogue that they can really listen to understand instead of listening to respond. And when you don't have good dialogue, you're constantly thinking about what you're going to say instead, right? And so we practice. And then we get on the phone and we prospect. Look, there's only 3 things the agent does, right? Prospect, list and show houses, negotiate contracts. If you're not doing one of those things, prospect. If you're not listing or showing a house, you should be prospecting. Everything else is fake work. Take it off their plate. Minimum of that a day, and we work our top 50. That's a culture of productivity. And you get into a rhythm, and they sign a thing saying they're going to do it every day. We eliminate the 5 dysfunctions of a team. Brianne, come back up here. I'm going to have you help me for just a minute. Is there anybody that has any of these dysfunctions? Absence of trust, fear of conflict, lack of commitment, avoidance of accountability, and inattention to results. What happens is we don't trust the team leader. We don't trust the team member, so we won't give them our A stuff. We don't trust the system, so we don't follow coaching advice. We have fear of conflict. Conflict is healthy when you attack process, not people. I like to say we don't have people process. I felt like I was giving the State of the Union. I was having a hard time with my words. Sorry. We don't have people problems, we have process problems. And if we attack process instead of people, then our people appreciate that and they're valued in the process. I never make political jokes, ever. On the 5 dysfunctions of a team, we have dysfunction. If you have dysfunction in your team, when I put that up there, avoidance of accountability. It's not that your people don't want to be held accountable. Who is it at the back that said I had accountability? Like, I want to help my people have account. Raise your hand. Brianne, give him a 5 dysfunctions book. Like you should raise your hand when I ask you something. I'll give you stuff. All right. Patrick Lencioni's book, The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, tells you how to eliminate these. We eliminate the 5 dysfunctions by process. Like absence of trust comes because you don't train your people, so we got to develop them. Fear of conflict means we don't teach our people how to deal with problems. If you don't have conflict on your team, your meetings are boring. Like encourage conflict because we challenge process and we want to learn how to do things better. Like when the team members are like, come on, what if we did this? I love that. I don't always do it, but I want the input because we're constantly changing and thinking. Anybody else have dysfunction? I know Brianne wants to give away more books. Brianne, there's 2 more. Give them away. Just let them have them. And also, Brianne, grab handfuls of like hand-dipped salted caramels. Anybody who wants those, just give them away. By the way, those are the greatest caramels if you haven't had them by our booth. Like, Brianne's got them. She'll help you get them. Come on, Rhino. There's my son, Ryan. Everybody say hi to Rhino over there. Rhino has 4 of my granddaughters. That's why he's moving slow. All right, so we talk about eliminating the 5 dysfunction. Avoidance of accountability. Can I just talk for 1 second about accountability? Accountability is not something you can ever do to someone. It's a choice that they have to make. I'm looking at Sandy, who is actually, Sandy's the name of my first girlfriend, Sandy Sessions. We used to jump on her trampoline. All right, Sandy. I know just watching your body language and having an interaction with you today that I can't hold you accountable. I cannot make you do anything you don't want to do. Is that truth? Yes. Right. And so when you understand that you're not going to make someone do something, all I can do is create an environment where you choose accountability. And as a leader, if you learn how to create that environment, your people will choose accountability because they know all you want is what's best for them. When you're trying to make someone do something, it's usually because you want something for yourself and they're not doing it, and so you want to beat them up over it. But when you want it for them, all you do is ask them if the things that they put on their vision board are really important and you're trying to help them get it. And so if they don't want to do this, what are they going to do instead? I don't care what it is. Just tell me what it is and I'll help you get there. Think about that style of leadership. Isn't that different than making you do it? I'm going to create the environment. I'm going to set the standard. They're going to sign the contract. You don't show up for huddle, you're not going to be on the team. It's your choice. I'm not going to make them do it. You don't want to show up. It's okay. Be free. Share your talents with others. Okay, next is we do a perfect week schedule. I'm going to go through fast slides. You guys ready for speed Virl? Okay, my perfect week is we intentionally create the week in advance what we want our week to look like. What that means is you write down when am I going to do huddles? When am I going to work with buyers? When am I going to work with sellers? When am I going to have date night? You put your personal stuff in first and you make it non-negotiable. I've been married over 35 years, and I promise you that for 35 years we have date night still. And my wife is here. She'll even tell you, do we still have date night, honey? Everybody say hi to Colleen. This is Colleen. She hates it when I do that. All right, you put your personal stuff in first and you put your phone down. You teach your agents how to do that and you start doing that in your own life. If you do nothing else than come here today and learn to be intentional about the important things and be non-negotiable, it'll change it. And then we track using the Daily Success Habits Tracker what we actually do in 30 minutes every day. And then we compare it to what we planned. And we look at the two and we keep looking at them back and forth until we realize that they're not in alignment. And then we start making course corrections. And pretty soon our days start to look like what we planned, and all of a sudden we have more free time because we're getting stuff done in a shorter amount of time. This Daily Success Habits Tracker is game changing. 61 points a day doing dollar productive activities. We track it from every team. They all go into a place called Workbench and we have the data. If you teach your agents to focus on the right things, you can get the right result. But if they focus on the wrong things, they won't get the right result. So here's a few questions I want you to ask. Do I know how to clearly describe a win in my day? Is it clear to everybody on your team what a win looks like? And I'm talking about client care coordinators, virtual assistants, transaction coordinators, buyer's agents, and team leaders. At the end of the day, Wayne, can you clearly define whether or not it was a win? Is it clear? And does everybody else know what that means to you as well? If not, then let's revisit that. Are my activities consistent with my goals and my values? Am I doing the things that move me closer to my goals? Or am I not? If I'm not, then you got to make course corrections. If you are, then great. And then, am I living with integrity? Integrity is one of the 5 dysfunctions, lack of trust. But the absence of trust is not what you think it is. Integrity is here, not there. It's not whether or not they're living with integrity, but are you keeping the promises you made to yourself and to your family and to your buyer's agents and to your clients? My guess is if you ask that question, you're really genuinely honest with yourself, we all have room for improvement. And so at the end of the day, I think that those are really critical. Look, this is a cool activity. I can't go through all of this, but we track all of these things, 61 points from all these over 500 teams all putting their data and all their team members in. I know it takes 140 to 160 points to get a transaction. If I can get you to focus on the right activities every day, every 160 points, you're going to close a deal. So every day we just do the right things. I just got you to do the right things over and over and over again. We tracked it for a little bit and we did this. We found out that it takes 211 appointments to get 55 listings. How cool is that? To get 55 listing or buyer agreements, that means it took 5 minutes per contact or conversation. It took 18 conversations to get 1 appointment. 18 conversations took 90 minutes to complete. That means every 90 minutes of prospecting, doing the right things, we generate 1 listing appointment. How cool is that? You want to know what that's worth to you? Here's what it's worth. 90 minutes to get 1 listing. 1 listing at $350,000 is $10,500. 90 minutes is $10,500. That's $116 a minute or $7,000 an hour. Anybody still worried about hiring a client care coordinator? If you take that 1 hour that the client care coordinator takes of administrative tasks off your desk and you focus on the right thing, you'll never, ever, ever worry about whether or not you can afford it. Fair enough? Okay, you like that activity? What is your time worth an hour? I like $7,000 an hour. But I can never get you to the place where you're making $7,000 an hour if you spend any of your day doing $15 to $20 an hour tasks. It is physically not possible because there's not enough hours, so you have to decide who's going to do that if not you. And that's how you delegate. That's how you make the decision to let it go. You got to track the right things. When you track the right things, we track leads, we track transactions, we track everything at a high level, and we make all of our decisions based on data, not on gut. Everything we spend $1 on, I want a 6x return. We track it, and these are, by the way, when you see them in the red, blue, and red, white, and blue, those are all things that are inside the Real Teams program. That's transaction tracker, our lead tracker. We track them at a very high level. This is a little bit deeper summary. We can see the ROI on each lead source. My rule of thumb is 6x. This is agile. This is a complex thing, but what this is basically, folks, is as entrepreneurs, we're constantly coming up with new ideas and driving everybody around us crazy. How many of you know you do that to the people that you care about? And they haven't even finished the last thing, and you got 14 new ideas. So we're going to teach you how to execute. We create what's called an idea backlog. Every idea has a number. And then we sort on the left column, highest to lowest. You can see this team had to hire 6 agents in 30 days. That became number 1. Then we created a sprint for it. When we created a sprint for it, those are all of the activities going to take to hire. We hired 6 agents in 30 days. When you make it a focus and you break it down to the ridiculous activities, the reason that workman teams are so successful and the reason you see that isn't because of me. It's because our team leaders learn how to execute on the basic fundamentals at a higher level. It's a higher level of execution on all of the things you all know to do, but most of us don't, because we have systems and processes that make it clear on what to focus on, and then you just focus on it. Isn't that a cool concept? Like you're all capable of doing amazing things, but sometimes we just don't know what to do next. This was created for me because I drove everybody crazy with all of my ideas. And finally somebody said, put it down on paper. What's the priority? Don't give me another priority till this one's done. This is actually used in the IT world. That's called a sprint. All right, your role as a team leader is to create stability and security. I have 10 seconds left, but I'm not going to do it. We're going to be close, though. I have more chocolate. We have more chocolate at the booth. Hey guys, as I get close to wrapping up, and I'm gonna kind of, these are some of the things that are in there. We're going to do another session right before the closing session just on Real Teams. These are some of the systems that are in there. These are onboarding and training and processing of cool things. This is all. This right here is the 10 things to be on my team is one of the greatest things we created. It's the thing that every buyer's agent, client care coordinator signs when they come in. You'll get that as part of Real Teams. I'm also going to give it to you. You'll get it in your copy of my slide deck, so I'll give that to you as well. If you really think that you need some help, by the way, has this been helpful to everybody? Have you got some good nuggets out of today? Has this been a good class? All right. Thank you. I just want to make sure you have good value. If you want some real help and you're not coaching with workmen and you want somebody to reach out to you, take out a business card and fold a corner and just give it to one of my people and say, reach out to me and we'll follow up with you and see if we can help you. If you don't give me your, I only want to talk to you if you really want us to talk to you, right? We're not gonna bug you. Just if you fold a corner. If you want to hurry and talk to us really fast, fold a couple corners. No, we'll call you sooner. All right, getting involved in the Real Team solution. I cannot tell you the value of this program. We have unbelievable rock star coaches. These are just a few of our RE/MAX coaches. Most of these people are here. We hire people that are doing it, and we have them become our coaches. We don't hire people that aren't in the game. You got to be in the game. Somebody said, why would you want a part-time coach if you're a part-time realtor? Let me tell you something. I do not want to climb Mount Everest with someone who's only watched videos on how to do it. I'm going with a Sherpa that's been up that mountain a few times, that's failed a few times. Most of the stuff we deal with in coaching is stuff that is just crap that comes up in our lives. And if you haven't ever dealt with it, you can't help somebody else deal with it. It's not in the manual, it's not in the book. It's understanding how to process things and deal with things that we develop. And the last thing, and I'm going to just wrap up with this, guys, and that is this. Of all the things that I've shared with you, I promise you, and this is the workman family at Lake Powell on a houseboat, that no other success can compensate for failure in the home. And I hope that you all have an amazing journey with your families as you create leverage in your business and in your life. Here's my last 4 things. Here's my last 8 things. Lead with revenue, focus on net income, return on time, eliminate dysfunction, clearly define roles and responsibilities, hire and onboard using Real Teams, get a coach that's the right fit for you, that's been there, always focus 90 days out. Take a picture of this slide, get the QR code, everybody. You can download all of my slides. We can also get a free strategy session. Use that QR code to get that. And let's have a great 2022 together as we build our new teams. Thanks, everybody. Turn my mic off. They probably turned my mic off. Let me give you one more slide. We have a conference that's in 2 weeks in Salt Lake. It's called Leverage. We bring all of our teams in, and we have a track for buyer's agents, listing agents, and team leaders. And the most unbelievable speakers as we teach you and develop and work with you on how to develop each area of the business. So if you haven't gone there, I moved it from January to Salt Lake City. It's going to be a phenomenal conference at a much bigger venue. It was sold out. I've got some tickets because we moved it. And if you want to come hang out with us because you want to really learn how to do teams, this is where the magic happens.